You know that app you use every single day? Well, behind that slick, simple interface, there's this hidden world of, let's call it, organized chaos. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on software project management, the real art of turning a brilliant but probably kind of messy idea into a product that actually works.
But first, we have to start with a really tough question. It's one that honestly haunts the entire tech industry. Why do so many software projects just fail? And I'm not talking about a small number here. We're talking about the vast majority. And understanding this, well, it's the key to everything else.
That number is a staggering 70%. Now, failure here doesn't always mean the whole thing blows up in a spectacular fashion. It just means the project missed one of its main goals. It went over budget, it missed the deadline, or it didn't deliver the features it promised. Basically, it failed to deliver on its original promise.
So, let's just dive right into this crisis. This 70% problem is the exact reason why having a disciplined approach to management isn't just a nice-to-have, nope, it's an absolute necessity.
Because here's the incredible flip side. When you get project management right, the results are, well, they're pretty dramatic. The right framework doesn't just stop you from failing. It actively sets you up for success. We're talking huge savings in both time and money. This is exactly why it matters so much.
So, how do we actually get those results? Well, it all starts with a solid blueprint. This is the framework that brings order, that brings a clear path forward to what can often be a really chaotic, creative process of building software.
At its core, you can think of software project management as being a lot like an air traffic controller. It's really this art and science of coordinating all the moving parts, the people, the money, the schedules, to guide a piece of software from just an idea on a napkin all the way to a safe landing with its users.
And this right here, this is the fundamental roadmap that pretty much every project follows. It's the software development lifecycle, or SDLC. You start with planning, move into analysis and design, then you get into the actual coding, the implementation, which is followed by testing, and finally the big moment, deployment, and then the ongoing maintenance. Every single step is a critical milestone on the journey.
But of course, a roadmap is pretty useless if you don't have people to actually follow it. Real success hinges on everybody knowing their role, from the business sponsors who are funding the thing all the way to the end users who are going to live with it. And smack dab in the middle of it all, you've got the project manager, the conductor, making sure this entire orchestra plays in perfect harmony.
Okay, so this brings us to one of the biggest decisions a team has to make, choosing their core strategy. The two heavyweights in this ring are Agile and Waterfall, and believe me, they represent two very, very different ways of thinking about how to build things.
First up, we've got Agile. Think of it like you're building with Legos. Instead of one giant, scary instruction manual, you work in these short little bursts called sprints. You build small, functional pieces, you test them out, you get feedback, and you adapt your plan as you go. It is literally designed for a world where you expect things to change.
And on the other hand, you have Waterfall. So if Agile is like building with Legos, Waterfall is like building a house. You need that complete, detailed blueprint before you even think about pouring the foundation. You finish one entire phase, like the design, before you can even move on to the next one, like construction. It's perfect for projects where the end goal is crystal clear from day one.
So here's the real trade-off. Are you building some innovative new app where you're going to learn a ton as you go? Then Agile's flexibility is absolutely your best friend. But are you building a system for a bank with super strict compliance rules? Well, Waterfall's rigid structure gives you the control you need. The right choice completely depends on the project.
All right, so you've picked your strategy, you've got your blueprint, but the real world, well, it's a minefield. It's full of common problems that can derail even the best-laid plans. So let's talk about how to navigate it.
First up is the silent project killer, scope creep. This is what happens when a project's requirements just start growing and growing and growing, long after the plan and the budget have been locked in. It's that little request here, a nice-to-have feature there, and then suddenly you look up and you realize you're building something completely different from what you started with.
And please, do not underestimate how dangerous this is. A staggering 80% of failed software projects point directly to scope creep as a primary reason they went down. It is the #1 cause of blown budgets and missed deadlines.
So how do you fight it? Not with wishful thinking, but with process. First, you need a formal system for any new request. That's change control. Second, for every single request, you do an impact assessment to see exactly how it's going to affect the timeline and the budget. And third, you have to get approval from the key stakeholders. This forces everybody to see the true cost of just one little change.
Now, our next pitfall is a little more sneaky. It's called technical debt. Imagine you have two ways to cross a canyon. One is a sturdy, well-built bridge, but it takes time to construct.
The other is a rickety, shaky shortcut. Technical debt is the price you pay for taking that shortcut. You save time right now, but you know you're going to have to come back and fix that wobbly bridge later. And that debt, it has interest. This quote just says it all. Leaving technical debt to pile up can absolutely grind a team's productivity to a halt. They end up spending more and more time fixing old problems instead of building cool new features. The only way to deal with this is to manage it proactively. First, you set up quality checks, like code reviews, where a second pair of expert eyes looks at the work. Second, you use automated testing to catch issues early. And third, and this one is so important, you have to actually schedule time to fix things. That means dedicating a chunk of every development cycle, maybe 20%, just to paying down the debt by cleaning up and improving existing code.
Okay, we've covered the crisis, the blueprint, the core strategies, and the big pitfalls to avoid. So let's bring it all home and map out a clear path to success. A huge part of that path is picking the right tool for your team's vibe. You've got these powerful, engineer-focused tools like Jira. You've got all-in-one ecosystems like Azure DevOps, which are perfect for teams already deep in the Microsoft world. And then you have these really visual, user-friendly platforms like Monday.com that are amazing at bridging the gap between the tech folks and the business folks. The best tool is simply the one your team will actually use every day.
So let's boil this all down to 3 crucial takeaways. 1. Choose your strategy wisely. Don't try to force an agile process onto a waterfall-style project or the other way around. 2. Manage your risks proactively. Don't just sit around and wait for scope creep or technical debt to find you. And 3. Be consistent. Your processes are only as good as your discipline in actually following them.
So, are you ready to actually put this into practice? Here's your 3-step plan. First, just assess where you're at. Be really honest about your team's current process or lack thereof. Second, make a conscious choice about your methodology. And third, track your progress with real metrics, because you just can't manage what you don't measure.
And that leaves us with one final thought. The next big idea, the next amazing app, the next software project, it's always right around the corner. So the only question left is your blueprint ready?